It's been 9 years, 3 months, and 5 days since my bottom surgery. That means 9 years, 3 months, and 5 days living without a penis. And well, do I miss my old parts? Well, it hasn't been until this year that I was talking openly about my transition and my detransition, and even among friends, it's like every single time I say this, one of the first questions I get asked is, do you miss your penis, or do you intend to get a reconstructive surgery to get your parts back, or even is it possible to reconstruct a penis? And the journalists I talked to also asked me this, right? And honestly, I hate that question. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I'm going to say that, oh, it's such an interesting question to answer. No, I hate it. I hate it. And the reason why is because it somehow means that I am required to want a penis in order to feel like a man, in order to be a man. And that is just not the case for me at all. And it's also weird when this question comes from people who are otherwise against bottom surgery or calling it mutilation. And I agree. I totally agree that it is a mutilation. I don't think this surgery should be done on people. But at the same time, when you're against that, and at the same time you're recommending me to get my penis back for surgery, that's a huge hypocrisy. Because you are telling me to go through a risky surgery all over again to get shitty results. What the hell is the point of that? Like, the cure to being mutilated is not more mutilation. Like, that ship has sailed. Even if I wanted to have my penis back, I wouldn't go through any bloody surgery, because it's too late, okay? You just have to accept how things are at this moment. There's no changing that. You can't go back, okay? But if there was a safe way of getting my parts back that wouldn't require an invasive surgery, I don't know, like, we are purely entertaining fictional ideas at this point, so let's call it magic or whatever, if such a thing existed. My answer would still be no. Why? Because I think it's quite comfortable not having penis and bollocks. It's like, it's nice just having nothing hanging there and moving around without it. I still get, at least when I was on testosterone, I used to get those random erections, and I hated them back when I had a penis, and I hated them after the surgery. Actually, after surgery, it's even worse, because it's like, you get a boner inside your body instead of outside your body, and it's one of the most uncomfortable feelings ever, to be honest, because like, the material is still there, so it hardens, and you know how that works, but like, it's happening inside of me. Absolutely hate that. Another reason why I don't really miss my penis is because I never liked it. I never felt comfortable having it, so... And that was also the case before I developed those invasive ideas of becoming a woman. That was the case for me before I felt that I wasn't a man enough. And, well, when I think about it, does that mean I had some level of gender dysphoria to begin with before bullying happened? Perhaps, but it wasn't necessarily the case that I wanted to have a vagina. It was more that I just didn't want to have a penis. And it's not that I didn't feel like it's not that I didn't feel like I was a boy or anything like that. It's just, for me, having a penis wasn't a requirement for me to feel like one. And it felt like being thrown in a role that I didn't ask for. And not necessarily into the role of a man, but into a role of a human as a biological being. It's strange because a lot of the time I just think of myself as a personality. Like, I don't necessarily associate strongly with my body. I never had a strong relationship with my body. Is it a sign of mental illness of some sort, some sort of dissociation? Perhaps. But I never felt comfortable having that, and just looking down on my body as like, that's not me, like that's not my part. I don't want this part. There was no way for me to ever be able to use that in an intimate relationship. So that was never a possibility for me, even before surgery, to be intimate with someone, like to be naked with someone, because I just didn't associate with that part at all. It's going to sound super strange to some people, but whenever I was looking at my penis, it was reminding me of death, you know, because it's like, ah, that's all I am, just an animal meant for reproducing. And well, if I am a biological being that can reproduce, it also means I can die. So for me, I've always associated private parts and sex with death. It's pretty messed up, but that sort of is the case for me today. Whenever I think of sex, or whenever I encounter some situation that is supposed to lead to sex, I'm just thinking to myself like, life is temporary. I'm going to die. Right? Like, just as natural as it is for people to get horny, it's just as natural for us to die. And it is super invasive, like those thoughts, you know. So I hated my penis, and I would say I do not regret not having a penis, but I still regret the surgery, for the reason that, well, there's a shitload of complications that follow. There's, if you've seen the video of my detransition, or you've read some article about me, if you're from Norway, that you know exactly what sort of complications I had. Problems with urination, horrible pains in my rectum, lasted for 4 years. Actually, I still feel some level of pain whenever I take a shit. I still feel discomfort. Sometimes I bleed, but it's nothing compared to what I was going through before. Then sometimes I get like little skin infection. It's itching like crazy. It's always very, very temporary. It goes away, but it's always coming back. The itchiness in my bottom area is just horrible. I don't dilate. I used to for the first 5-6 months, something like that, and then I just stopped. I was like, well, you can have some serious complications from not dilating after surgery, but at that point I just couldn't be bothered. I was like, if it's going to kill me, it's going to kill me. If not, then it's not going to kill me. And well, I'm still here after 9 years, so I guess it didn't kill me, unless all of this is an illusion and I'm living in some sort of dream while I'm in a coma. when I was in Thailand and I was getting myself ready for the surgery, and I was like, I don't think I want to do this. It's not because I was like, oh, I want to keep my old parts. No, it's more like I was scared of something going wrong. I was scared of the complications, and I guess I got it in the end, right? So I was right about being worried. But it's never been that I don't want to lose my penis. I never felt any connection to it. I never used it for anything else than peeing. And speaking of peeing, perhaps that is the only thing I miss, being able to pee standing up. And I mean, in many ways, sitting down to pee isn't actually that bad. It allows you for this moment of relaxing and just sitting down, especially if you're working and you have this moment just for yourself to just sit down and hey, just relax for a moment. That's cool. Yeah, but there are certain instances where I wish I could be able to be standing up, and that is if you're on a road trip or something like that, and the only place you can go take a piss is in the forest. Right? It was super cool to just stand down and piss on a tree or something like that. Well, what other option is there for me now? I can squat, but that won't work because my wound is not designed the same way as a vagina, so it doesn't flow naturally. It just goes down my legs. So unless I want to smell like urine when I'm back in the car, I can't urinate, so I just have to hold it in until we find some place where there's a toilet I can use. That's why I don't really go on road trips anymore, because it's a nightmare, to be honest. Otherwise, there are advantages of not having a penis. I think that cycling is much easier, much more comfortable. I mean, if you're a male, you will probably relate to a level of discomfort in your testicular area after cycling for a long period of time. I don't feel it anymore, and that's quite a relief, to be honest. Sure, there are some advantages, there are some good things, for me at least, about not having a penis, but is it worth it? No. And what I'm saying right now, it's not only relevant for detransitioners. I mean, I think at least that most detransitioners sort of miss their penis, at least, or their old parts, at least, based on the interactions with detransitioners I had. It's quite common to think like, oh, I made a horrible mistake, I want my penis back. That is not the case for me, but I think my story is also relevant for trans people who do not detransition, who feel like they should get a surgery because they hate their own penis. As someone who hated my own penis, trust me, it's not worth it. You might end up with something much, much, much worse. It's like, there is no perfect scenario here, right? Do you live with the parts you hate, or do you risk getting rid of them to end up with the complications, or being a patient for life? I guess my message to trans people who want to go for this surgery is just think it through. It can turn into a nightmare. Sometimes I'm thinking to myself, what would happen if I was actually happy with the results of my surgery? Well, would I detransition, or would I live happily as a woman? Because before that surgery, my life as a trans woman was fairly nice, I would say. I was I was definitely happy. Like, I won't look back at the time and pretend like, oh no, 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 it was a wrong choice for me. I didn't feel like myself. No, I I was happy, and perhaps, you know, in some alternative reality, I could continue living as a trans woman if my results were good. So I definitely think that horrible results of my surgery contributed to that. Perhaps, you know, I would wake up at some point and realize that I'm living a lie, but it will probably happen much later than if I was to be happy with the results of my surgery. It's really, really hard to tell, to be honest. I still find it strange that some people think that getting a reconstructive surgery is a good idea or even a relevant idea. Like, come on, like, after what I've been through with surgery, do you think I'd be willing to lie down and be cut up again just to get a fake penis that isn't even working? Uh, Hell no. And I would probably hate it anyway. Well, you know, what's the moral of the story here? I guess I would hate it no matter what I end up having. So the best thing is to do nothing. If it was possible for me to receive therapy to accept that part of me as it is, I mean, I do think it will be possible. I think most psychological issues can be resolved with therapy if two factors are met. That is a good therapist and the willingness of the patient to make the change, because I think that 90% of the work you're doing in therapy is being done by you, not your therapist, really. So, like, if you're not willing to put that 90% of the work yourself, you're not going to get anywhere with therapy. And then again, yeah, there's a lack of good therapists, especially where I live. It's it's not even worth mentioning, to be honest. It's if you live in Norway and you ended up meeting a really, really good therapist, I'm like, wow, that's like finding a four-leaf clover. It's usually not happening. They don't even listen to you most of the time. Make strange assumptions, to be honest. Like, it's all being done by the book, you know, like you're not being met as an individual. There's just one point to all of it, and that is diagnosing you with something so they can put you on meds. It sucks. It sucks is what it is, you know. But let's say, hypothetically, if I was to receive a good therapy, I do believe it would be possible for me to accept that I do have a penis and there is really nothing I can do about it. Because, like, let's not live under illusions. Let's not lie to ourselves. There is nothing you can do about it. And if you think you can do something about it, you're deluding yourself. You can remove it, sure, either for surgery like I did, or you can cut it off yourself if you have balls enough to do that. But that's not going to make you any happier. Like, in many ways, it is even worse having what I have right now than it was to have a penis. Like, sure, it was annoying, but now it's even more annoying. And you could say, well, it's not as visible, right? So at least I don't have to look at my private parts. That's a good thing. but they still make themselves known either through occasional pain or through other complications, you know, like itching and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I do experience occasional pain in my area. Just recently, I was sitting, and when I got up, I got like this sharp pain down there, and it happens every once in a while. It happens if I exercise too vigorously, so I can still do strength exercises and stuff like that, but I can't really like push myself too much. I can run. I can still run, so that is a good thing, but if I do that for a pretty long period of time, I get pain. So I can run for like maybe 5 minutes. That's it. After that, it's too uncomfortable. And those things, they're like never easy to talk about in any way, shape or form. And at this point, I think that the videos I'm making are showing like so many different sides of me, you know, like sometimes I talk about the difficult stuff, you know, I talk about the sad stuff. Sometimes I'm joking around, sometimes I'm exploring ideas, sometimes I'm trying to be informative or even inspiring, you know, but like there's like different sides to this channel this far, and I think it represents who I am at my core. And recently I've been feeling a little sad, you know, with the passing of my grandma. So I didn't really feel like having a more light-hearted video this time, because just I'm not in the mood to be joking around this time. So there'll be like no funny parts of me inserting like some videos from films or TV shows or nothing like that, because it's hard losing someone who was an important part of my life, you know, like my grandma. Oh, last time I talked to her was during Easter, and that was like almost 3 months ago, right? And I had no idea that that would be the last time I would speak to her. So I was visiting my family at the time, and I was talking to my grandma on Skype, and all I managed to say to her was just, "Hey, happy Easter, how you doing?" And then my brother was like, "Hey, come on, let's go play." We were playing, I think it was Saints Row 4 multiplayer. So I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm coming. Yeah, I'll talk to you later." And that was the last time I talked to my grandma. And I wish I had like a longer and proper conversations, because I just couldn't imagine in my head that that would be the last time I ever spoke to her. Because when I visited my family this month, just my dad told me, "Hey, your grandma is in coma." Oh shit. And a couple of days later she was already dead. Alright, that's it for today. I will make a more substantial video next time, where I don't just ramble about everything and anything and nothing. But I think I needed to get some things off my chest this time. So, I'll see you in 2 weeks, because I'm quite busy with work this month. So, in 2 weeks, I'll see you in the next video. Have a great fucking summer in the meantime, and I'll see you around. So, Ciao.